What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 28th day of March, and here we are sitting at about $1.35. We've got about 8 hours and 10 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. And let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about this price action. So we have seen, as you can see here, it's a little bit shaded because I'm trying to pull up a new chart. Internet's definitely taking a hit right now for some reason. If we're looking at this here, we did get our lowest daily close, but we did not have volume, right? Lowest daily close is typically a good sign that you're breaking out to the downside, just like a higher daily close is a good sign that you break out to the upside. But again, we had no volume back here. We have no volume here, and the breakout did not happen. I'm assuming same thing. We're just moving sideways. It's the same old stuff. Now, I will admit this this sideways range has lasted for XRP a little bit longer than expected. But I have been saying since February that I think it will be probably April that we get to this $2 range. Probably April, late April that we get up to this $2 range. Maybe even early April. And XRP, it doesn't need much time to move up. It's the 28th today. It could be by the end of the month that we're up at $2. You never know. This thing can move at a very, very fast pace if it wants to. But volume is slowly dying off. We are in this range of consolidation. Okay? We're about to break out one way or the other when the volume comes back in, and I would assume that that's any day now. Likely not by the end of this month. Like I thought that we would be moving up by the end of this month. I just didn't think that we'd be at $2 by the end of this month. But likely in April, probably the first half of April, we'll see a breakout to the upside. Starting off the month of April, maybe we come into it pumping going into the end of March, and then we dump going into the beginning of April, whatever. But I would expect that the first half of April is probably going to be decent at least. Looking at this here in the short term, looking at the 1 hour time frame, and then we'll zoom out from there. A little bit of volume here. Cool, whatever. Just a random spike. All right, somebody fat fingered it. Looking at this here with the RSI, we do have bullish divergence. Things are taking a turn. RSI looks bullish here. Stochastics look bullish, and the MACD is about to cross through the zero with its oscillators here, and you're building bullish momentum. All good things. So I don't think that it stops here. That doesn't mean that you're doing this. It could. This is XRP. It could mean that, but you probably continue to run up a little bit. Find resistance around this $1.37 area. You're at $1.35, so nothing exuberant. Probably pull back. Let your indicators cool off. It's the weekend. Nothing exciting. Nothing fancy is going to happen. Get overbought with all of these, right? Cross above the zero, and then let your RSI cool off over Sunday. Maybe you come down to the 50. Maybe you come down to the oversold area. Same thing with the stochastics, right? One way or another. And then the MACD, as it crosses above the zero, can pull back to find support at the zero, and then you're ready to move up going into the next week. So a little bit higher, probably a little bit lower. I would expect in 24 hours we're at this exact same price, more or less. I bet if I made a video tomorrow, it would be at the same price, $1.35. Here we are, 4 hour time frame. And again, you can see this bullish divergence showing its beautiful little face. Low here, higher low there. You've got a double drive of bullish divergence there. Bullish divergence on the stochastics and bullish divergence on the MACD. And this is actually really good because you have the bullish divergence and now you're flipping green and your oscillators are kind of finding a double bottom as well. We've seen this type of environment before for XRP. It typically does bode well. But again, we're on the short-term time frames. We're on the 4 hours. So whenever I say bode well, I mean it could be crazy stuff. It's probably just going to be an exceptional move relative to this. We'll probably see a retracement from this high to this low somewhere here in the middle zone there. So let's throw a fib on there from a high to a low. The golden ratio is right there at about $1.50. $1.49, $1.51, right there at about $1.50. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we were on our way, either by the end of this month, over the next couple of days, or sometime in April. Or is it, I guess we have 3 days left in this month. But sometime in the beginning of April, maybe the very last day of March, we're up here, whatever. Maybe it takes, the first week of April being over before we're up there. It could take more time. And it might be a straight line like this. We might just get a solid push up like this. It could be something that's more worked for, and then we finally get up there. Like this, it could be a kind of two-part move that takes us up there instead of just like a one swift move like this. But XRP typically it is fond of these swift movements up. It does like to not mess around whenever it moves up. So we'll see. One way or another, though, $1.49, $1.51 from this area, I think that's an acceptable area to consider. With that in mind, what's the percentage gain on that? Come on now. About 10%. That's not bad, guys. That's not bad. 10 to 11%. That's really not bad. And from a zone where it's not that you can't go lower, but what? You're going to go 5% lower? I mean, the risk to reward there is 2 to 1 almost. Like it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's really not bad at all. And that would be like the worst case scenario. I don't think so. I think if you were to go lower, we would have seen some volume come in. And again, the bullish divergence here, the stochastics coming up, the MACD as well. All these signals are telling us that we're going to go higher from here, in my opinion. So even if we go lower, if we do happen to go below this low, I doubt it's by any significant degree. We look at the daily time frame here. And again, I would think that if anything, I'm not being cautious to the downside. I'm being cautious to the upside. If anything, we could explode through the limits that I'm giving it. Absolutely. I would say that's more likely than to explode through the limits to the downside. Anything can happen. We could just do this. But I'm taking the stance that we're going to be moving up probably to around $1.50. And I would think that that comes in over the next week. The faster, the better. Looking at the daily time frame, what we want to do whenever we break out of this, we want to see volume come in. Okay, it doesn't have to be this much volume. It could be more, it could be less, whatever. But it just has to. We want to see volume increase. That's all it just has to increase, right? So if here's our volume now, we just need it to increase. It doesn't have to be crazy. But the crazier the volume, probably the crazier the move too. The RSI, we look at this, you're in an area where consistently you have been finding support, whether it is right here, whether it's a little bit lower, whether it's a little bit lower than that. Again, promoting this idea that if we do go lower, it's probably not going to be by much, okay? The stochastics are reset, they're oversold, probably going to come up here pretty soon. The MACD, you are rejecting the zero, and that's not a positive thing. Typically though, when you reject the zero, I mean, for example, the last time that we rejected the zero, we didn't reject it here. We rejected it over here. When you reject the zero, I mean, that's the type of movements that you see, right? It's just like a quick shift down. We're not really seeing that here, and we've been rejecting it now, I would say, for about the last week. We're not really seeing a swift movement down, and no volume's picking up, right? It's actually dying off. So I think this rejection might be a false rejection, and false rejections are actually very positive. Let's see if I can find an example of that. Like here, this might be a good example. Let's see, right? False rejection here. I mean, you did reject, you did go lower, but barely, right? Your lowest low was at 44 cents, you went to 39 cents, oh God. You know, you did go lower, but then whenever you moved up, look at how much more robust that movement up was. And that false rejection really just set you up on a path that took you to a very explosive move inevitably. And it might not be that exact same way. I'm just saying false rejections actually get you set up. And that setup could be immediate, or, you know, maybe it does take more time. Maybe it's not next week that we're at $1.50, but it's 2 weeks from now, whatever. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I hope that the path is more or less clear. It's still a little bit blurry. The timing is the hardest part. But what I'm confident in is if we go lower, what, 5% at the most? Maybe. And then if we move up, we're probably going to move up another 10% or more. Yeah. And inevitably, I think that from here we are on a path that will take us to around $2, be it $1.85, be it $2.20, maybe more than that. I would expect that it's not going to be a long, drawn-out process. I would expect that this is the long, drawn-out process part, and that whenever we're ready, it will be a quick move up, a swift move up, as XRP likes to do typically, right? As it likes to do whenever it makes its moves up. It doesn't meander. It meanders to the downside. That's whenever it meanders. Even if it's quote-unquote moving fast. Here we had that sudden shift, but most of the time it's the upside that it takes that swift action, not the downside. So will probably be more or less boring between this $1.70, $1.30 area until we're ready to make that movement up. And whenever it happens, you'll know because it'll be very fast. And we'll probably stop around $2. The reason why I keep saying probably around $2 is because from a, come on now, high to a low here, the golden ratio, I guess the 0.5 is actually at $2, but the golden ratio itself is at 233 to 253. So even above $2 is possible. Maybe I was thinking of this high to low, this relative movement here. Let's see, this high to this low here. The golden ratio there is at $1.80, $1.90. So, you know, in between there, $2. There's a lot of resistance, and then we look at the price action too. This just below $2 zone, just above $2 zone. There's a lot of significant support and resistance in that area. So it's not a clear picture as to where the end goal is going to be, but we have a rough idea. You know what I mean? Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. $1.50, and then we'll move on from there. Take care. Bye-bye.